Hi there, I'm the creator of the Uke Playlongs channel and the Uke Stuff channel here on YouTube. Today this is a little bit of an advertisement of a brand new resource or a newly modified resource, my Christmas Intermediate Chord Melodies for GCEA and DGBE ukulele. What it is a book of 66 arrangements, 67 songs of Christmas chord melodies for both GCEA, soprano concert tenor ukulele, as well as baritone DGBE ukulele. If you play through the songs, it's more than an hour of music, and there are over 300 pages in the book. There's a section for GCEA and a section for DGBE. In addition to that, there are unlisted videos that feature demonstrations of each song as well as a tutorial for every one of those songs as well. You can find the collections at buymeacoffee.com/ukestuff. It's there in PDF and EPUB format. It's also the most economical way to buy it because there's less overage charges as in the other delivery methods. And there's an added benefit that I can update those materials there and they can be re-downloaded if there's ever a new version or updated or corrected version. Then it is also available on Apple Books, Amazon Kindle, and in print from Amazon. Those options are more expensive, but if people want to print a 300-page book, actually it's pretty affordable considering how much printing costs these days. I do want to add that if you want to order a copy of the book in print, do give yourself lead time because the books are printed on demand and then shipped. So it can sometimes take 2 to 3 weeks to get a book that's ordered this way through Amazon Direct Publishing. This has been a 5-year project so far, and additions to this particular version, it's the 5th version of the book or the 5th edition. First of all, there are 5 new songs. Second, I've added a vocal line and lyrics to each song. That's been a big request, so I've added that. And then finally, there have been some minor changes to chords up the neck to make them a little bit easier to play at times. In the rest of this video, I'm going to do a brief introduction to what chord melody is. Then I'm going to offer just short examples of the GCEA and DGBE versions of the song. And then I'm going to give some examples of how you can use these chord melodies beyond just the chord melodies themselves. So for example, you can play the chord melody, you can play the chords, you can pick just the top note and let that be the melody, or you can pick the top notes and then occasionally add chords. So I'll do demonstrations of all those things. Plus, with the vocal line and the lyrics, you can actually sing along to all the songs as well as playing them however you want to play them. So first, let me just quickly talk about what chord melody is. Chord melody is a wonderful next step when playing ukulele from just strumming and singing. Not there's any problem with strumming and singing. It's great. I do it all the time. However, there are times that you want the instrument itself to speak, and it's a great next step because ultimately you're making chord shapes, and with your thumb generally only, you're playing either a full chord or a part of a chord or a single note. And ultimately what you create is the melody at the same time with some chords of harmony, and therefore you get chord melody. Now my arrangements are made for either reentrant or linear instruments, whether GCA or DGBE. I keep the melody in the top 3 strings so that the 4th string, the string closest to you, isn't responsible for the melody. And that's because if you have a reentrant instrument, the 4th string is actually higher than the 3rd and 2nd strings. If you have a linear, it's the other way around. It's actually the lowest note on your instrument. My arrangements keep that melody on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings so that that isn't a problem. My arrangements do offer that traditional notation and tablature. Tablature actually really shows you what string and fret to play, so there are 4 lines. It's sort of like looking at your instrument this way rather than normally, so you have to sort of flip your mind around. If it says 0, 0, 0, 3, that tells me to play 0, 0, 0, 3, nothing, 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 3rd fret, and that's actually a C chord. So tablature gives you sort of a visual of how to play it, and if you know how to read traditional notation, that's there as well. However, if you play linear GCEA ukulele, the traditional notation isn't going to quite match because the traditional notation is for reentrant GCEA on these arrangements. Now, let me just give you a quick example of what the chord melodies would look like. This is a GCEA arrangement here, and it is Old Lang Syne. It's just the first line of it, and that's really all you need to see whether or not this might be of interest to you. Ultimately, what chord melody again tells us to do is what strings to play, what frets to push down, and then you avoid the other strings. So it would sound something like this. And that's an example on GCEA. Incidentally, compared to an older version, that last chord, that B flat up there at the 5th fret, I've changed it. I used to have that as a bar chord, which works, but realistically, all you need is 3 notes of the chord, and you've got them all represented here. In fact, I'll show that on the screen here. You've got all the notes of the B flat chord represented, so you don't even need to play the 4th string at all. So I took that away in this particular version of the song. If I didn't need the bar chord up high, I didn't include it. And actually that makes it easier because then all I have to do is think about making a G shape at the 5th fret. Now let me also show you what that looks like on baritone as well. So let me flip over to that. Now this is a concert ukulele with Pepe Romero baby baritone strings on it so that it can actually play like a baritone and I don't have to worry about the different size and scale jumping up to baritone. So it allows me to play baritone tuning on a concert. So if you look at the screen here, what you'll see is that the actual numbers of the tablature are the same, but the actual physical notes are different on the screen, as well as are the name of the chords, because the baritone is tuned a perfect 4th lower than a traditional GCEA soprano concert or tenor ukulele. Now I'm going to play this here for you. It's going to sound very similar, just lower in pitch. So that's that first line of Old Lang Syne as well on baritone DGBE ukulele. The one caveat here is that you cannot use this book in a group and have one group of people playing GCA and another group playing DGBE because the tablature will be very different for instruments that are tuned a perfect 4th apart from each other. Now let's talk about how you can also use these chord melodies in different ways other than just playing the chord melody. Now, this is the same part of the song, but if you've noticed on the version above me, all of the highest notes at any time are highlighted. It's not like this in the book. I added that. I generally use PDFs with the app Fourscore on my iPad. I would use mobile sheets. You can use mobile sheets on the iPad. It's available, but I'd use mobile sheets on Android or a Windows tablet, for example. And you can highlight things. And I just highlighted this as an example. If I play just the highest note of the tablature, I can then just play the melody. So if you would like to buy these books and just play the melodies, and you don't read traditional notation, well, here you go. You can read just the top note of each particular event in the song and play that top string and the fret that it tells you to play, and you can play the melody. Now, on a related note, you can simplify these chord melodies in any way that you want. If you don't want to play all the part of a chord, you can just ignore it. So in this example here, I am playing just the chord melody of the first beat of every measure. So for the sake of just showing it to you, I've X'd out anything else that I'm not going to play. So it would sound something like this. And that might be easier for you as well. You have the right to modify these to play them as they work for you. Now, one final thing is you can also just play the chord names. Now, the chord names are there for really 2 reasons. One is if somebody just wants to play the chords, but the other is as some of the chords go up the neck of the ukulele, you might want to know what chord you're playing, and you may not read the traditional notation. You may not be fluent in reading traditional notation. So the chord names are there to help you know what chord you're playing really throughout that measure or over that chord. So you could do this instead and play just the chords. And that's where you could also sing along something like this. The first note is a C. It'd be like this. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? You can do that as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use these chord melodies that just isn't the chord melody themselves, especially now that the vocal line has been added. And again, you can sing that vocal line with a standard chord melody. You could sing it with just playing the melody and singing at the same time. You could play along with a modified version of the chord melody where you only played the first beat of a measure or something like that. And of course, you can sing the melody and just play the chords that exist there as well. Incidentally, those chord names are going to be correct regardless of whether you play GCEA or DGBE. So a baritone player could play along with a GCEA player by just playing the chord names rather than trying to play the tablature that they see on the page. My hopes with this advertisement is that you can see that there are a lot of ways to use these chord melodies. If you're looking for some other resources that exist out there, mine is going to be the largest collection of public domain chord melodies for Christmas that's out there. You'll find some resources at Spencer Gay's Uke Education for Christmas. You can find a book of Christmas chord melodies written by the late ukulele Mike Lynch for sale on his website. And if you go to my website, ukestuff.info, you can actually find a couple of free holiday chord melodies that I have on my ukulele music in my tabs, and the book of hymns that is there by Elizabeth Ragsdale. You'll see at the same ukulele music, you can see a drop down for her works. Her book of hymns actually has some Christmas carols in it as well. All that said, I hope you're interested in checking out my arrangements of Christmas intermediate chord melodies for GCEA and DGBE ukulele. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.